is Fossil Lord of the Dmvdrakes. Today I am bringing you a deck profile for the Xros Heart deck that I ran in the October 21st regionals, where I placed 27th. It was a run I am very proud of. I didn't get to do many regionals with Xros Heart during BT11 and BT12, so I was really happy with their performance in a BT13 meta. Before I do show the deck, I do want to preface this with all the cards that I'm about to show you are cards that I have tested and I have figured out how to work around, and running Xros Heart right now is especially matchup dependent. So these cards are ones that I have decided to use and that I have understandings of when to play them and when not to play them and when to skip over them, which I will point out with certain cards, because there are certain times where you just move past them instead of playing them. But to start, I run a classic 4 BT10 Pikmon. There's really no question about this in a Xros Heart deck. You need the extra draw from the swinging, and any of your level 3s can digivolve over top of this because it has Xros Heart in the traits. We're going to move past the eggs. The eggs are kind of easy to do. As well as the next card, I run a full playset of the BT10 Shoton. I've got my one event pack BT10 Shoton here with 3 pre-releases. I'm trying to get more event pack Shoutmons because I do like the red background and red border more than the pre-release versions. I don't think I need to tell you exactly what the card does, but you can play it for 4 and you can search out a Xros Heart Tamer and a Xros Heart Digimon, as well as save when it gets deleted. I don't need to really explain this, but its inheritable rush is a key part to any Xros Heart build, since you do need to be able to slap down your crosses and then get them going the turn they come in, unless you think you can wait a turn, which in some crosses, like Cross 3, depending on when you play them, you can wait a turn. My next set of cards will be the BT10 Pikm, BT10 Sparrowmon. Again, you have to run a playset of these. These are used in almost every cross, barring Cross 3. The inheritable to draw one is great, as well as the on-deletion save, and which I also forgot to point out with Shoutmon. It can digivolve over any level 2 with Xros Heart, which is why it works phenomenally well with the BT10 Pikmon. Next, we're going to move into... Oh, actually, before I move away, I do hope that this Sparrowmon will get some kind of alt art in the future, because most of the cards in this deck have some stamp or alt art, and I really want to finish blinging out this deck, because it is my main deck. Next, I have a full playset of the BT10 Sparrowmon. This is one of the cards in the deck that I've seen a lot of people question the ratios for. I like to run it at 4 because it is a lot of rookies I can digivolve over raising with and swing with, as well as I like the all turns where it'll gain 3k if you have a card with Xros Heart on the field, which includes Tamer. So as long as you have a Tamer down, you're basically swinging a 5k into security. Its inheritable reboot is really solid because you can digivolve some of the 4s over top of this, and they'll just be able to swing and then unsuspend if they live. And then it has the, of course, on-deletion save. And I did make sure I picked up a full playset of these, a full playset of the alt art of these extremely quickly. I really like this alt art, and I was not going to let that get away from me. My next one, which is I've seen a lot of debate around, is Shoutmon and Star Sword. I like it because if I'm in like a bind, I can play it and cross it with a Shoutmon and Sparrowmon to give it rush and draw 1, as well as reduce something by 3k, and then pop a 2k or less. That doesn't really come up often. I mainly use this as an extra Sparrowmon or a Shoutmon if I need to go into like a Cross 3 for cheap. Otherwise, I save it for Cross 7 Superior mode, because with all of the crosses, with all the different cross cards I have in here, I believe I am at the 14 or 15 range for the full play cost reduction. And that was our last of the level 3s. We're going to start moving into level 4s. First level 4, you know we have to have it. It is the one-off Shoutmon Cross 4. This card came in clutch so many times. being able to play it to draw 2 and then swing with security to draw 1 off of the Sparrowmon inheritable, and then just it usually lives because it's basically swinging as a 10k. Kill it to put all the sources underneath the tamer. One thing I found was really good to do with this is that since we have Taiki and Taiki carry on Nene, what you can do is you can unsuspend a Zendero and put all those sources under Zendero, because if you're playing Xros Heart correctly, you'll have 2 to 3 Taiki carry on Nene combined on the field, and you'll be able to do multiple crosses and reduce the play cost to basically for free if you're doing 4 or 3, and then you could gain 1 if you're doing 5. And then my next card is King version. I remember when Cross 4 got limited to 1, King version was all up in arms about how many you should run. You only need to run 1. This card is situational. It can act as a material source for a cross, as long as you pull that cross from the trash. I believe that's how that works. As part of its own play effect is you can pull a card from the trash, and you can digicross it, which is something I like to do by putting in a Shoutmon or a Sparrowmon to let it survive a turn, and then either to survive a turn with Sparrowmon since it'll reboot, or to just go for game with Shoutmon. I did the rush swing with Shoutmon in store championships and was able to defeat a Black or Greymon player doing that. My next card is a playset of Sparrowmon. This card is a staple of this deck. I really wish it had an alt art since it is used in every cross. But its on play effect is really good. One thing that I did during this tournament is that I never just played an Akari turn 1. My usual turn 1 tamer was Taiki Zendero or Taiki Kira Nene, because I use the Akari and Sparrowmon on play combo to just pop level 3s. I use the Zendero on play to choke them at 2 while hopefully placing a Digimon and breeding, as well as playing a Ballistamon to pressure for 2 checks in next turn. This can digivolve over level 3s with Xros Heart, which is, if you're really in a bind, you can digivolve it over a Sparrowmon, and that Sparrowmon will be able to give it reboot so it could swing and then live through the next turn. But it's inheritable with minus 2k. It was very, very handy, especially if you get multiple on the board, because it is not a one attacking skill. It is a general passive skill. So if you have 2 on board, their security is minus 4k, which really makes security very nice for Xros Heart to swing into. Speaking of staples, our next staple of this deck is the Ballistamon. This Ballistamon is pretty basic. It's 4k body blocker, as long as you have another Xros Heart on the field, which I should have specified. Ballistamon's reduction of minus 3k is dependent on having another Xros Heart Digimon or Tamer on the field, which is same as Sparrowmon's. But they both have on deletion save, which is almost every 3 or 4. It's every rookie or champion Digimon in this deck. Its inheritable piercing was very, very useful. A lot of people would swing into security and then they'd live, since Xros Heart security is basically free. But with Ballistamon, I could counterback at them either with Cross 7 or with Cross 5 and just start obliterating security. And this was part of the turn 1 play I was talking about, where you play Zendero to play a Ballistamon and choke them at 2. The next cards are Shoutmon Cross 3. I only run 3 of these because I think of Shoutmon Cross 4 as the 4th card for the playset. It draws 2. This searches the top 3 and allows me to play 2. It's almost similar. It acts similar in the situations where I need them to be. I know that for the game I played on stream, I brought this up earlier, I just played this 1 turn. I did not cross it because he gave me a lot of memory and he had to carry it on the field. And this is an example of where this card's usefulness is that I could play this and just give him, because he put me up to 5 and I played it and sent him back to 3 because there's nothing else I could really do that turn. And the start of my next turn, before you draw, I found that out in the tournament, I can pop it and gain a memory. And it is really good if it is stunned or I can't do anything and stuff like that. But overall, this card is really solid. I saw that there were some championship cards coming out with alt arts. It's going to be a bit of an ordeal to pick those up. My next card, which is one of my favorite additions to this deck, is the BT12 Shoutmon King version. This card is a strictly one-off in this deck because it is, in my personal use, like one of my first 3 turns surprise play to play a Ta Kira for free, as well as maybe giving this thing rush or reboot so it can swing and then unsuspend, which is something I did do in the tournament, but it did get source stripped. This is another card that can be used for Cross 7 Superior mode, since it does have Cross Heart in the traits. And the Inheritable doesn't really get used unless it's under a Xgramon or an Omni Shoutmon. Yeah. My next cards are 2 copies of Shoutmon Cross 5. Shoutmon Cross 5 is a really good card for this deck. You can play it for free. You can play it for free 2 or 4. I wouldn't really play for anything more than 4 unless you're really in dire straits. The security attack +1 and blocker on this is so good because if you have the full stack, you can swing with piercing for 2 checks, potentially through something they swung with last turn, throw off their whole game plan, and then unsuspend with a 10k blocker on the field that will material save 3. I forgot to specify material saves on the others, but I think at this point most people know what they do. And even if they do die, even if this card does die, I can just play out another one like next turn, and most people won't even expect me to have both in my hand, since I'm running I'm running this in BT13, they expect more Cross 7 to get rid of the bigger bodies. My next card is 2 copies of BT11 Omni Shoutmon. I only run 2 of them because I only run 2 of the Shoutmon Cross 7. Most of my game plan with this deck is to just go full gas through their security as fast as possible while giving them as minimal memory and wiping out as much on their board as possible. I know that is a lot to do with this deck, but I've been playing this deck since it came out in BT10, and we're now in BT13, which is about a year later. I've learned through losing a lot of matchups and when to pop stuff and when to go hard on their security. This is also really good because if I can make a full Cross 7 stack, this will have reboot and 2 checks and blocker. And it is a nasty combination because it is a all turns. Actually, I'll save that explanation for when I get to that card. But the Sec +1 Inheritable is solid, as well as it can Digivolve over a Shoutmon for 4, and it counts as a Shoutmon for Superior mode. And then if you Digivolve it, and if it has Shoutmon in the traits, you can pop a 4 Careless or 2 4 Careless Digimon. But back to what I was talking about with the Shoutmon Cross 7. Being able to play this for 2 or 4 is really the optimal way to go because it will pop something since it's DP scales for every 2 cards in the traits. I really like that because it can be a 16k blocker which can block level 7s such as Quartzmon and ruin their day completely. Granted, Quartzmon will probably suspend this, but it works so well. It has Rush, it gains 1k DP for every 2 checks. You can Digivolve it over Zeeg if you really need to. It's okay. I wouldn't really do that too often. I feel like playing this in that instance would be the better move and just popping something. But I do have both alternate arts in here since I did get the finalist from my run just now. Speaking of Xgramon, I run 2 copies of Xgramon. The problem with running Xgramon in this deck, which is I've always been questioning whether or not I should run 3, is that it's not searchable by Taiki. It's only searchable through draw or through cross 3, which we do draw a lot in this deck, but more often than not I see it get searched around. But the blocker Inheritable is really good. They have to have blue flare, so it's really only good for cross 7 and cross 7 superior mode. But it's when Digivolving skill actually won me a game. When Digivolving, you unsuspend it. Then, if it has Blue Flare or Cross Heart in any of the traits of its Digivolution cards, and your opponent has 2 or more memory, you gain 2 memory. So doing that combination right there, it would win me my on-stream matchup against Blue Flare, because he had a Death X out and another Digimon, and I I kind of tunnel vision, but I was thinking, okay, well, might as well just do it and get to the next round. And it was very handy. Plus, it's an 11k body. Most of the cards in this deck aren't really high with DP if they're not like Cross 7 or Superior mode. So just having the extra DP is really handy. Next we have the hardest removal in this deck, Cross 7 Superior mode. I run 2 copies of him, nothing more, nothing less. If you see him out of security, you're fresh out of luck, but that's where Shoutmon King version from BT10 would come in. But more often than not, I usually draw into him. I think this is some of the best removal in the game since it bottom decks all the sources of a Digimon card and then puts that Digimon card at the bottom of the deck. It gets around the X antibody, trash nullification, as well as just being a thorn in players' sides because it does couple with I'll show this early. My final crossblade I run out of one of. More often than not, I do have this in my hand whenever I go into Cross 7 Superior mode because I like to play this while retaining turn, and then they'll say, oh, well, now you can't get game, and then I play Final Crossblade for 9, which will delete something as a main effect, and then I can unsuspend and attack with this. It literally says, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you may unsuspend one of your Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior mode cards and attack a player with it. It's really solid. I really like it. The option cards are one of the most debated thing I've seen in this deck. I've seen people put Heaven's Judgment in here. I've seen people put other things I mostly forgot, but I like to go with the Finisher card. Plus, its security effect is to delete an opponent's Digimon. Really good. Allows me to target certain things to stop them from winning games. But before we end this, I'm going to place this right here so that I remember to show you guys the example of crossing with all of my sources. Next, I run 4 copies of BT10 Tii. This is a no-brainer. Its search is really good. Reveal top 4, take a card with Xros Heart and its traits to my hand, and place a Digimon with Xros Heart and its traits underneath. And then I can use it as a cross tamer. The only problem with this is that it doesn't search out Z Greymon, but more often than not, if I really need Z, I'll find some other way to get him as long as he's not in the trash. Not too much needs to be really said about Tii. I do have my sneak play where I play him with the BT11 Shoutmon King version. I try to keep that with him the first 3 turns. Otherwise, I am giving up game pressure. If I'm giving up game pressure, unless they're also giving up game pressure. Next, I run 2 copies of BT10 Aari. I've seen people run 3. I've seen some people run 4. I feel like 2 is the perfect amount. What I like to do with this Aari is I'll play it as a counter card on my turn to them having level 3 on the board. Say like Psychmon, I think, that reduces play cost. Play this, play a Darulamon for free, suspend this, draw a card, the Darulamon pops the Psychmon, and boom, we're on a roll next turn. So I just like to keep that in mind, and it just works really well. And plus, the security effect of all tamers to play him is really nice. Then we have 3 copies of BT10 Zendero. This is part of my turn 1 strategy with Tii or Ta Kira and Nene. I'll play him, play a Ballistamon, choke him to 2 while setting a Digimon up and a Tamer to save them under. It is honestly a really potent combination. Not a lot of people were ready for that. It did definitely win me some games by getting 2 early checks off. And it's really good later on because I can unsuspend it with Cross 4 and keep getting crosses for cheap reductions. And then the last cards in my deck, I run 3 copies of BT11 Ta Kira and Nene. This card is so good. This is honestly a top 3 card in this deck. Being able at the start of your turn to place a Xros Heart or Blue Flare underneath of it to gain 1 memory and draw 1 it's phenomenal. I saw this card and I was thinking, thank goodness I don't need to try to fit a memory tamer in here. I just can place this card. I'll play it. I'll play it to pass turn. I'll give them 4 with this card because this card gives me so much in return. It is another cross source. It gives me memory and draw every turn. It's amazing. I'm looking forward to them doing a full art card for this. I really thought they were going to, but oh well, I'll wait for it to come out, and I will be getting it as soon as possible. But I would like to bring it back to Cross 7 Superior mode, and just go over the number of sources I can have. So I have my Shoutmon, there we go, that's in frame. I'm going to slide this down here, so that's in frame. I have my Starmon, I have my Sparrowmon, my Shoutmon plus Star Sword, my Shoutmon Cross 4, King version, Darulomon, Ballistamon, Cross 3. Okay, hold on, I have to, hold on, I gotta shrink these up real quick, just to fit everything up here. I got my King version, my Cross 5. I'll start stacking these like this. That way you can still see the card. But you can see what's happening. Omni Shoutmon, my Cross 7, and my Z Greymon. All of these, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That originally for 14, but so basically if I cross with a Shoutmon, it either reduces the play cost by 1 or that Shoutmon counts as 2 sources. I know that one of those is not right, but it is essentially the same effect. It will make it so I'll only need 14 sources. And say I cross with this Shoutmon, make it for 14, be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, bam. Cross 7 Superior mode with every card in this deck, every Digimon card, nothing more, nothing less, and it just goes ham on the opponent. Some notable matchups I had before I end this is that there's the blue flare matchup that is entirely dependent on you giving them no more than one body on the field to work with at a time. I played against Black War Greymons twice. I ended up just rushing them down, and when they got their Black War Greymon stack on field, I hit him with a Cross 7 Superior mode and got him out of there. Red Hybrids, I did the same thing. We really just played the rush game with them, and then one of the games they kind of just bricked and couldn't find any of their stuff, which was unfortunate for them. Against Shy Greymon, this deck is a battle with because Shy Greymon is a very volatile deck. But I was able to determine that if I can just throw out Cross 5s, Cross 4s, and Cross 3s, and only throw out a Cross 7 if they have a full Shy Greymon stack on the board, I can get through their security faster than they can fully set up. And then I've also played against a Gamamon that is, I don't want to call it free, but I don't think Gamamon is in a place right now to contest the speed of Xros Heart. Xros Heart isn't a fast deck compared to a lot of stuff in the current meta, but it is faster than Gamamon, and being faster than Gamamon in that matchup is all it needs. And then some of my losses were to Bloom/Rosemon and Royal Knights. Royal Knights, that Royal Knights player just played it really well. He was able to consistently get blockers out every turn, and I just wasn't able to put up enough swings to get through it. And then the game before he could play Omnimon. And then Bloom Rosemon, I personally hate that deck. I gave him 1 memory, and he started his turn with 3 bodies, and he got all the way up to Hydramon through Blossomon and HPD in his hand. So I think that explains that. But yeah, end of the tournament, 6 wins, 2 losses. And I got top 20. I got 27th out of, I think it was 512 at the start. Maybe it was like 4 something at the end. But I'm going to be playing the November 12th regionals running this deck. I'm hoping to crack top 16. This deck is entirely matchup dependent, and I think I have the matchup knowledge. But thanks for watching my Xros Heart deck list. While you're here, please subscribe to the Dmvdrakes channel. Also, check out our socials, Dmvdrakes on Twitter and Dmvdrakes on Instagram. And I think we have a Facebook account. I'm not sure about that. But check out our Discord link. It'll either be on our Twitter or maybe in the description below. And Let us know what you guys think, and let us know what you guys want to see. But thanks for watching.